Tim's thoughts today. In 2 Samuel, King David had a moment of worship that changed everything. The Ark of the Covenant had been away from Israel for years, and it was returning to Jerusalem. The physical representation of the presence of God was coming home. Let me read to you what happens in 2 Samuel chapter 6. But as the ark of the Lord entered the city of David, Michal, the daughter of Saul, looked down from her window. When she saw King David leaping and dancing before the Lord, she was filled with contempt. They brought the ark of the Lord and set it in its place inside the special tent David had prepared for it. And David sacrificed burnt offerings and peace offerings to the Lord. When he had finished his sacrifices, David blessed the people in the name of the Lord of heaven's armies. Then he gave to every Israelite man and woman in the crowd a loaf of bread, a cake of dates, and a cake of raisins. Then all the people returned to their homes. When David returned home to bless his own family, Michal, the daughter of Saul, came out to meet him. She said in disgust, "How distinguished the king of Israel looked today, shamelessly exposing himself to servant girls like any vulgar person might do." David retorted to Michal, "I was dancing before the Lord, who chose me above your father and all his family. He appointed me as the leader of Israel, the people of the Lord. So I celebrate before the Lord. Yes, I am willing to look even more foolish than this, even to be humiliated in my own eyes. But those servant girls you mentioned will indeed think I am distinguished." When I was about 5 or 6 years old, my mom was a music minister at this little country church. And one night during choir practice, all of the kids whose parents were in the choir were down in the fellowship hall. And I had this great idea to climb up on this long row of tables and take off running to the end and then leap into the air. I was going to fly. After all, I was Superman, right? I ran as fast as I could, jumped out as far as I could, and soared for about 4 feet. When I woke up, I remember thinking I could do it. I just need a longer set of tables. Jump first, fear later. Sounds irresponsible, a little crazy, potentially dangerous, huh? Jump first, fear later. Well, that's the essence of Jesus' call to us. Let me encourage you this week to recapture the joy of being a child and apply it to your life of worship, and even more so, your relationship with God. If you're looking for the joy and the freedom of faith, that one statement, jump first and fear later, will open your eyes and your life to the possibility of an exciting adventure as you worship through this journey and in your relationship with God. Here's a formula. Maybe not the formula, but it's a formula, and here it is. Recognize, receive, risk. Recognize the passionate love of Christ, then worship Him passionately. Receive the gifts from God, mainly Holy Spirit. Have extravagant passion for Him. It can't be fabricated or manipulated. Passion comes from gratitude. So receive from God and passionately worship. And lastly, risk. Take the risk to live and worship passionately. Passion is always risky. The question is the passionate life of worship worth the risk? So go ahead and worship irresponsibly. Forget about what is sensible and responsible and rediscover the childlike passion of falling in love with God. Take the ride of your life on this roller coaster of His unconditional love. Run to the end of the tables and jump. Who cares what anybody else thinks? Recognize, receive, risk, and worship. Have a great week. We'll see you next time.